All right, Chris, here we are again. They said we weren't going to do it, but we're back. Episode 26 of the High Octane Dads podcast. You ready to get rolling?
Yeah, let's go.
Awesome, man. Well, like I said last week, I think we start off with some automotive world news, some racing news, that kind of stuff. It's been an interesting year, watching NASCAR so far and some stuff. We were talking about Cletus last week, and Greg Biffle's been really involved in, with Cletus and Cletus getting started in racing. And there was a post, I don't know if you saw it the other day, where Greg Biffle said if his YouTube channel got to 100,000 subscribers, he would go a month with no sleeves. So every morning he would get up and rip the sleeves off of whatever shirt he was wearing.
Yeah.
And naturally, Cletus posted that, and it happened very quickly.
Instantly.
Yeah. And all I could think was like, I go 3-4 months out of the year with sleeveless shirts, and I'm not getting anything for it. So, What is up with that? But, he's posting videos on his YouTube, like shorts of, I think one of the days he had his kid do it. Like he'll, cut the top and bottom, and then they'll rip the sleeves off of whatever shirt he's got on that day.
That's pretty cool.
So he's making good on it.
I just thought of something. It kind of reminds me of, it's like the wrestling, the WWF, WCW back in like the Attitude Era. It was all the kids going and you doing all this crazy stuff, and that's Cletus now.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. That's what
our generation's now got a platform, and we're just running with it.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting times. And so if you watched, I think we talked about it, but if you watched his after race interview, you can tell, he went up there and was Cletus in the same way that he is, outside of, when he just does his YouTube videos. And, just the way he did it, it's like there was no media training to get up there and, all right, make sure to mention this sponsor and this one. And, I was in the Coca-Cola 400 or, Chevrolet today with my, he didn't have any of that. He was just like, I'm ripping around Daytona like a bald eagle, just hilarious.
He was having a good time.
Yeah. And really, it's like, and he said, I was having the best day of my life. And I can only think how awesome it would be to actually race in a big race like that,
Yeah.
Maybe I love drag racing, but it's like you're in and it's over, and something like that, you're really locked in. So that would be pretty awesome.
Oh yeah. I think it would be a good time.
Yeah. And they've even got the experiences that you can go and do where, you pay and they go and give you a little bit of training. You get out in some actual cars and run around the track. And I mean, I'm sure that would be a blast. But this week they're at Circuit of the Americas in Texas. And so they're doing a road course this week. And historically, my guy Ross Chastain does pretty good in those. He's actually racing in the Xfinity Series and in the Cup Series this week, which is going to be pretty cool. I'll be excited to see what he does. But those are always fun to watch to me because I like F1 also. And so it's kind of a blend. Definitely pretty cool. There was something else that I was going to say, and I lost it. So we're just going to move on. But Cletus posted that he was doing the Ultima 600. And they ran, I want to say, 67 Nissan Altimas on that relatively short track. By the time the others were already in, coming out of turn 2, the back of the pack had not even started moving yet.
Yeah.
And they did no cautions, which is exactly how Ultima drivers function, right? There are no cautions. Yeah. There's no.
Yeah.
And I mean, it went exactly as you would expect it to go. It was basically a demolition derby on the oval. And
I need to rewatch it. I actually remember we got to talking about it earlier, and I watched it, but then it ended up being where I started and I had other things going on and I was kind of in and out and forgot about it. So I need to actually go back and rewatch it because I remember watching parts of it, but not all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen clips. I mean, I tried to watch it and, of course, just get busy and stuff. But what I've seen of it was hilarious. I do think Cletus won it. So, pretty interesting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't really seen any other, big news. I know Lights Out just happened down in Adel at SGMP. And I say every year I'm going to go to that race and do some photography, right? And because the last time I went to Lights Out, and I actually seen a picture of this the other day, we've got my son who's turning 17 this year up on my shoulders at probably 7-8 years old at that race. It's been a long time. So when we went, Big Chief was there, Sean was there from Street Outlaws. So this was back when they were all still together and Street Outlaws was still kind of new. We drove all the way down there to go to the race kind of on a whim. And like I said, I say every year I'm going to go, and it sneaks up on me. I don't know why. I just don't expect it to be in February, I guess. And then I'll hear about it like the Thursday before.
Right.
And I had some plans already. I've got to do a little photo editing tomorrow. I told you about it. I got invited to go out to a local place, and a friend of mine's son, I want to say they're 19. They've got their own band, and they were doing a show downtown and wanted to get some, photos while they were on stage and stuff. So took the opportunity to go down there. I'd promised them I'd come. So I went and did that. So I didn't go to Lights Out, but
it looked like it was a good time.
Yeah, looked to be a good race.
Yeah.
There was some mixed reviews on the streaming, apparently.
Okay.
One of the things I seen, they were like some of the grudge cars and stuff. They were showing the times on the live feed as the cars were going down. So that did not go over super well with the grudge racers out there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, but what's new with you, man? What project stuff you got going on?
So I was trying to put my car back together, and I had a bunch of wiring that had some issues. I think we talked about it a while ago about having some intermittent crank sensor issues, some oxygen sensor issues. And once I got the head and all off the car, I had hooked the harness from back behind the trans, pulled it all up, and was kind of going through it. And the crank sensor wire, there was one that was pinched, kind of flattened. It was starting to corrode. And so I fixed that. And then for that side oxygen sensor, it was pretty wrecked. And so I ended up having to repair a bunch of that, put a whole new end on it and everything. So that kind of sucked. But I mean, then the cylinder head, there was an issue with it. So I had to take it back to the machinists. Yeah. So I got to wait on it now. Again, I was like, probably would have it running tomorrow, but it is what it is. I'd rather make sure it's right before I get it back together and have to tear it back apart again. So, yeah.
Like, how did that happen? Like,
I
mean,
don't
was
know.
it just...
I don't know. I mean, I remember when we talked, when he first did the heads, I think that he said he had to do a bunch of grinding in them. I don't know. And I don't know if maybe he didn't remember or just, I don't know. But there's also a couple other valves that once it was cleaned, I looked at and I'm like, I want to get those. Just look at those a little bit, but I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't have to have it right now, but it'd be nice.
Yeah. Yep.
So this weekend, I'm going to go through and rebuild all my rockers, and picked up another mini bike. Well, I picked up a mini bike. I think it was that little green one. I think we talked about that. But the other week, I went and picked up a go-kart and a little four-wheeler. So the go-kart's actually an old man code dingo, and it's got a Predator 212 on it, and it had a few little issues. And so I've been working through those, and I was going to try to run it this evening, but by the time I got home, it was dark, so it didn't happen today. But the little quad, I've actually reached out to Mikey, and I think he's going to come pick that thing up from me and try to get it running for me and do a little series on it.
Oh, is he going to put it on his channel?
Mm-hmm, probably.
Nice. As a reminder, that's Mikey's Fab Shop. He does a lot of small engine stuff, motorcycle stuff, all that.
Yeah.
If you haven't been checking that out, make sure you do. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be a pretty good, easy runner, but even if it's not like a whole episode, we might be able to do something with it. But,
well, once you get it running, if it was easy, then you spend time with some shenanigans.
Yeah, it's a little 2-cycle China four-wheeler. So, China. But I got it. It turns over good. Everything's there, and it looks decent. And I'm like, okay, it pulls. And then I'm like, all right, there's no fuel in it. I'll just let Mikey deal with it. I could probably just put gas in it. It'll be fine. But, I don't know a whole lot about the little 2-cycle engines. And, he's my motorcycle four-wheeler guy. So, and, what better way to help friends out?
Absolutely. Well, and if it gives, I mean, you and I know from experience, right? Like finding ideas for content, because we've talked about, do we post shorts? Like I recorded a bunch of little stuff I did, putting the subwoofer in my truck and stuff like that. But then you think about it, and it's like, anybody really want to see that? Should I really even post that? So, I mean, if you give him something where it's like, hey, um, you know, it's it's something you can do for content, right? Like you're kind of helping them out
Right.
as well. So that's good for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, on my front, I don't know. Like I found a deal. I know was selling a big toolbox, like one of the Husky like 52-inch toolboxes, or I think it's 52. And the one of the tall boxes, and he was selling it out of his shop, and I was like, man, my little you know 36-inch Craftsman or whatever bottom box, and the little top boxes is slap full. I've got tools just sitting everywhere. And it's like, man, it'd be cool to get an upgrade. So that kind of lit a fire under me to just get out and get the garage cleaned up and organized. And he's supposed to be getting with me to get that box in the next couple days. But I've been kicking around a tire rack, that mounts on the wall where you can put your wheels and tires up and get them up off the ground and not be in the way. I've been kicking that thing around the garage for 2 years. It's literally 6 lags to put the thing on the wall. And I don't know, you know what I mean? It's just one of those, like, it seemed like couldn't really decide where I wanted it. What am I going to do with it? And then finally was just like, you know what? I'm going to mount this thing. And I think I did it on my lunch break.
Yeah.
So I got that mounted. I mounted my hose reel on the wall, just little stuff, getting stuff up off the floor, right? Because that's what somebody told me one time. I forget who it was. Is like when you're looking for storage and you don't have a very big shop, right?
Yeah.
You go up, right? It really helps you with
Yeah.
space and organization. So trying to do a lot of that, just getting some
I
things
need to do more
organized.
of that.
Well, and every time I do it, I get some major milestone on one of my project cars done, because I get the whole shop organized and I know where all my tools are. And then I'm like, now I'm really motivated to do stuff. And then as I do it, I'll just sit tools around.
Yep.
And then it's like, damn, and then maybe
it's an
I don't
endless
come
cycle.
back to it.
That's exactly how my stuff is all the time.
And I enjoy the organization of it and spend time doing it. So not the end of the world for sure.
Yeah.
But got those mounted. I did go ahead.
Hey,
yeah,
of the tire thing, that's exactly what my boom is clamped to.
To the one of the tire rack things. Nice.
In the box.
In the box.
Actually, I bought 2 of them.
I should have.
And the other one, the parts of it are right here.
Oh yeah, dude, those are heavy, dude. Like I pulled it out of the box and was like, holy cow.
Yeah, all the parts are actually in this little room with me, but yeah, because I was going to hang them one time, and then I've actually changed and moved things around in this garage several times since I bought them. So I don't know. I'm thinking about mounting them almost outside on the outside wall of my garage, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, because I've got a whole lot of people here. So we got a freezer and a big stand-up freezer, and I got a full fridge out here, and I've got windows a lot of places in the garage too. It makes it hard to have a whole wall for like wheels and tires or something.
Yeah. Well, like I've sent you pictures of my garage. So when you come in, like where the car sits, there's not room to park 2 cars side by side. There probably used to be. But then they closed in a part of the garage before, long before we bought the house, and that's my daughter's room now. But then it kind of has made this, like when you come in the garage right to the right, there's like this nook there that leads up to the door, and that's where my chest freezer sits. That's one of the next things I want to get, is a garage fridge to go out there. But that's where I put the tire rack, 'cause that's also where my air compressor is. So I put it kind of right over it. But I really do wish I had gotten to, because I've got the WS6 wheels that are more like a street tire with the Nitto, what is it, NT 555s or whatever on those. I've got my race stars for, my drag pack with the skinnies up front. And then, I've got my stock 15s that came on my car that I can't convince myself that they should just go. And so at least want to put them up on the wall, get them out of the way too.
Yeah. So I've got mine still too, and they're in the attic right above my Caprice right now. And I'm like, man, they're in good shape too. And I'm like, I'm not going to ever use them again. But I hate to throw them away. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to keep them.
Dad was always adamant. He was like, man, just take them and, wrap them up, put them somewhere. Don't let anything happen to them. 'Cause if you ever want to, make it original. And I'm like, well, that ship's long since sailed, but still, like having the original wheels that came with it.
Yeah.
So, like I've got the matching
I've thought
interior.
about that. Yeah, you do. You got the good interior. I wish
Yeah,
I wouldn't have changed mine.
yeah, and like with me, if I ever do put, a seat with the harness and everything else in it, like those seats for sure will get,
Yeah,
wrapped up in some kind of way and
similar to
put
that.
away so that they're preserved.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, uh, but other project updates, like I started to clean up the 5.3. There was, from it sitting, because I'm a lazy SOB, it, had a little surface rust and stuff. Um, Getting that all cleaned up. And I mentioned this, I think, on an episode a while back, and the guy was over here and he was like, I've never heard of that. But like the oil pan that's on the engine that I pulled, like the gasket has a rivet that holds the gasket to the oil pan. And so like, obviously I can't reuse that gasket, but also I've got to, just drill that rivet out and take it off of there. And so I was like, all right, I need to put the oil pan on there and new pickup tube and all that stuff, and then get the cam in, and then I can at least start putting the engine back together. And so I got out there and just, again, because I've got the garage organized, I started cleaning that up, getting ready to put the cam in. But the Trans Am, I really want to get it out and drive it some. And I took it apart because my tacks never worked.
Yeah.
Right. And then I was kind of kicking around the idea. I was like, it'd be funny for the channel. Because I seen that guy. Have you seen the dude that's like built a whole car, like the engine, everything, the whole LS, anything that he could get from Temu, he bought and put it together. And like, he posted videos like taking it for the dyno day or whatever with it all put together, rockers and trunnion, like all that stuff was all
I
Temu
saw that.
specials.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking. I was like, I was going to buy a 5-inch tack with a shift light. So I wonder if they have them on Temu. And sure as hell, $22 looks very similar to some of the like ones you see, like the Summit brand ones or whatever, that don't say Summit, just the white label ones with nothing on them. And I was like, they're not the same. I did kind of go look, they're not. But I was like, $111, which is not bad for a tack. But then it was like $22. And it just, the intellectual curiosity in me, okay, it was really the cheap ass in me, but I am curious how accurate it is. And since I can fire up HP tuners and see what it's reading and then look at the two together, like for $22, if nothing else, I'll make a video of it and we'll put it on there, and I'll have some form of attack. But
yeah,
I'm just curious how it'll do.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was going to say I actually just recently ordered from Temu for the first time ever. Like, I don't know, like a few days ago or a week ago. I don't even know why, but I'm like, I'm going to get on there and just look around. And to be honest, I really don't remember what I bought.
That's Temu, baby.
Yeah, I spent like $27 or something. I was supposed to be getting like 8 or 9 different things. And I'm like, what? And I'm trying to check out. And then it's like, oh, but if you spend $75, you can get this. And I'm like, stop. I can't do it anymore.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely interesting how as you scroll through there, it's just recommending random stuff. And,
Yeah. But I don't know if I've gotten anything yet. When I came into the house today, I saw a box out front and I haven't grabbed it yet. And it might be one of my Temu things, but I know a couple of the things I bought were tools as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like some impact swivel sockets.
They're going to explode.
Yeah, probably. We're going to find out.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I think just some like organizational stuff, like little sockets, rails.
And for stuff like that, man, that's the thing is like, I'll buy little things like that. A friend of mine has got some hoodies that he ordered from there that are relatively cheap. And he's like, it's my favorite hoodie. And he said, I'm not saying that because it was $8. Like, it's fleece lined. I got one off of TikTok shop, which is the same shit, right? But it's got the Glock logo on the front and on the back. It's got like a diagram, of a blown apart diagram of a Glock on the back of the jacket. And the vinyl's like got some wrinkles in it. It's not going to last a couple dryer cycles, but the jacket itself is super comfortable and it's warm, but the zipper, the part that you actually hold and move the zipper, it's on the wrong side.
All right. Hear me out. Hear me out about it. So Temu 2025 is what eBay was in 2005.
Straight from China.
I mean, there's still a lot of stuff from both. I'm sure that's good, but I mean, eBay's come a long way over the years from where it was. And now I'm sure there's still, whatever any on there anymore too. But honestly, because the whole Amazon has sucked me in. I mean, I'm sucked into that shit.
What really frustrates me about Amazon, even Walmart.com and all of these nowadays, right, is they're like, oh yeah, buy with confidence on Amazon, right? Some of the stock images you'll see from some of the sellers on Amazon with those weird brand names of the crap you're buying is the exact same stuff that's on Temu or TikTok Shop. And you're going to pay more for it buying it through Amazon. It's going to say it's Prime. It's still not going to ship in 2 days. And at the end of the day, you don't know that you're really getting that much more quality from stuff just because it's not like I know Amazon is, not some knockoff stuff, right? Anybody can go list something on Amazon very similar to how you can on eBay. And that
Well,
tends
I
to frustrate me.
think it's organized a lot better. It's got
Well, yeah.
the user side of it is so easy. And for the most part, I mean, given I haven't had too many bad dealings with stuff gone wrong, but if shit's fucked up or you didn't order the right thing or whatever, you want to return it,
Send it back.
it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing.
But you know what the nice thing about Temu is that you don't get with Amazon is when it finally shows up, you're like, yeah,
oh yeah,
I ordered that. It's like a little gift to yourself that you didn't remember you ordered because it's been 2.5 weeks.
Yeah, that, or you just got sucked in because I'll get you this free gift, pick your free gifts, and then you forget what all of it was after looking at like hours of nonsense.
Yeah, it's
like, I don't use them.
I think I've placed 2 orders, and it's just it's always like, why not? Like, so I've got a small dent in the side of my truck, right in front of the rear wheel well, and I don't know if they somehow know about it or if it's just a regular recommendation for people who are into cars, but I get post after of dent puller, like paintless dent repair, like do it yourself things with these little ends that you hot glue to the vehicle, and then it's got like a pump thing and it can pop it out. And I don't know if they would work, but they're $18, and like part of me is like, should I try it? I don't know.
What are they at Harbor Freight near you?
Well, so funny you mentioned that. Tomorrow they're doing like the big Harbor Freight tent sale starting tomorrow. And so my best friend was saying he kind of is wanting to go and check it out. And we've got my son's Science Olympiad competition for the regional one is tomorrow. So we're going to be there like 8 a.m. So we're going to go do that. And then he'll probably go with my mom. And so I'm thinking I'm going to swing by Harbor Freight and see if they have them because I am curious.
Yeah. I do know they do. I had like the aluminum one. It was like one big suction cup, and then you like clamp it down. And it's like,
yeah, I'm curious. I mean, because it's a spot about yay big, and then I've got one on my front bumper on the right side that's maybe, I don't know, grapefruit sized or something. Not grapefruit, maybe a little bit bigger.
It's grapefruit.
You
got little hands,
little Trump hands. No, my brain saw cantaloupe,
right,
and I said grapefruit, and I don't know. I
thinking of peach.
It's a big peach. I am from Georgia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that, and the thing is, like, Steve might owe Jegs $100 because I was going to order their tack, and then I was like, I'm going to order a tack on Temu, just being funny. And Steve was like, no, you're not. And I was like, fuck you. Yes, I am.
You'll see it on my car in 3 to 7 months.
Yeah. At some point between now and when it gets cold again, I will have a very inaccurate tack mounted underneath my tack.
I mean, can't be much worse than the factory one.
Yeah, right. I mean, and that's the thing. Is like right now, my tack reads 0 all the time. When I was banging the limiter at a little past the 8th mile, a couple months ago, or a few months ago, like I don't know what RPM I was at, but the data log shows me. But, so we'll see. I mean, anything's got to be better than nothing. I'm just it was more like I'm really curious, can a cheap tack be worth a damn? So we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's all I'm working on, just trying to get this OBS moving forward, and that's it. So I had on my list here, I saw a reel, and I need to look into this some more, but we talked several episodes ago before we kind of stopped and took our break for the holidays about how this big push for EV didn't make a whole lot of sense. And the way to get folks like us to go, well, I could use something really good on gas, like the hybrids would make far more sense. But now Ram apparently has a truck that's an EV, but it has a gas engine. But the gas engine doesn't run the powertrain, it just charges the battery. What are we doing? And maybe I'm wrong about it. And I, because I didn't look into it a ton, but I'm pretty sure that's how I read it. And it's like, what?
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, it's just, so it sounds like you just got like an onboard generator, basically. But you still have to have fuel for it. And you'll burn less, but I mean, so it's not really a hybrid in the sense like a Prius, right? Can run on either or.
I wonder if it would get hammered as bad with like the extra taxes those people have to pay for having an EV.
Don't you get tax credits and stuff for buying an EV though?
Yeah, but then they do some weird stuff, and like I know here in Virginia, I'd have to look it back up because I'm probably wrong, but I know there's something extra tax that like EVs get.
Well, I guess I could see that though, because if you think about it, every gallon of gas we buy has an excise tax on it. And if you suddenly aren't buying gas, the state's not getting that excise tax from you anymore. So maybe there is like not a penalty, right? But pay your fair share of the excise tax. But shouldn't you be exempt from that since you're saving the environment? You're moving away from fossil. So that's interesting. I'm going to look into that.
Yeah.
Probably for next episode, because I'm curious. We keep saying like, if somebody knows anything about EVs, like come, like hang out with us, talk about it. Like,
I may know a guy. I know he's got 2 Teslas. I'll have to reach out to him.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and say that like
he's
Teslas
an
are awful.
turbo guy.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. They're fast. They got torque, right? It's instant torque. Like, if your goal is just, I want something that can get up and go and move fast, and electric cars, it'll do it, but it's just not cool. I don't know. Like, I'll
have to hit him up. I'm sure he'd be down to talk.
Heck yeah.
He lives down around the corner from me, but he's got a turbo LS T56 swapped Toyota pickup.
Where'd my camera go? While I fix this, we'll keep talking. So speaking of,
okay, well, I'll say I might have to run in real quick.
Yeah, no worries. Now all I was going to say is that we can probably convene here pretty close. I was just going to say the band that I shot the thing for the other night.
Yeah,
they were interested in just coming on and kind of talking about. They've got a single that's out on what you call it, Spotify, right? So they've got. I think I sent it to you. So there's always the possibility of bringing them on, which I think would be cool. And then, the guy that I'm buying the toolbox, actually, him and a friend, they run the local like tire shop and stuff here, like a commercial tire shop, but they do, oil changes, things like that. And, cool guys. And he was saying he'd be happy to sit down. He's got a couple of race cars and stuff that he's working on. He's in the process of building a shop. So, I'm sure he would have some good stuff. They're the guys that at their shop, they have, it's a OBS body style dually sitting there at the shop. It's lowered and it's got a 454 big block with a supercharger on top of it sitting in the lot. And I mean, I drool over the thing. Yeah. It needs a lot of little stuff, but it's cool as hell. Every time we go out there, I'm always kind of looking at it, thinking it would be cool to have that.
Oh yeah. But it's the thrill of the hunt. Once you got it, it's like, oh, now I got to work on it, or just you got to look at it all the time. I don't know, maybe I'm getting old. I'm just ready to start getting rid of some shit. But then I keep coming home with more shit.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my camera is not going to come back, so you guys get to look at a technical difficulties block or something for the last little bit of this episode. But I know you've got a kid that's a little bit under the weather.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to mention is I do want to start talking about, and you can find one for next week, Marketplace Find of the Week.
Yes.
But I found, and I want it. I got to convince the wife, because when you're teaching kids to drive, right, if you got something to drive around the yard in a full-size car that they can learn in, that's great, right? It's a fantastic idea. It's better than a golf cart or go-kart. It is a 2004 Hyundai Santa Fe.
Oh, yeah.
But the doors are gone. The back quarter is cut off of the top, so it's just open on the back.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way it would be legal to like drive up and down the road. But for driving around the yard and things like that, it looks like it would be a lot of fun. And the guy wants like 650 or best offer for it. Like, I've seen go-karts cheaper than that. So,
yeah.
or I mean, more expensive.
More expensive.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. Talking with the wife, I'm like, you can teach the kids to drive in it. It's a great idea.
Yeah, let's put some pool noodles or something on the sharp edges.
There are definitely those, so we'll have to figure something out there. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting little thing. I'll grab some pictures of it, and if somebody has around $650 in the Central Georgia area, I'm sure this guy would want to sell it to you.
Oh yeah, well, and I was also thinking, since we talked about our Temu buys, how about next time we can bring up if our stuff showed up and how they work out.
So the TAC supposedly was a local warehouse, so I expect to have it within a week or so. So yeah, hopefully by the time we do this next week, hopefully I'll have it installed. But how that goes. It's I buy them fast and I install them over a 2-year period. So we'll see.
Yeah, we are the same. But no, yeah, because like I said, I know I got some sockets and some socket rails and some odds and ends like that, and I'm kind of curious. We can compare and see how things turn out and when they got here. And maybe we can start reviewing some Temu tools or something.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, and I've got a need because I got to do those motor mounts on the OBS, and like to snake up in right there where the lower control arm goes into the K member to hold the nut in place to get the new motor mounts in, and or to hold the nut so you can loosen the old ones. You kind of need it's like a 15 or 18 millimeter wrench, but you need it to have a little swivel on the end so you can turn it a little bit, but it's got to be like 2 feet long or so, or at least 18 inches long to get up in there and still be able to get your hand on it. Well, I did it on my Firebird, man. It was a pain. Like I had tape and some string tied to the end of the wrench because inevitably I would drop it into the K member. So I had to be able to like pull it out of there so I didn't just have a wrench rattle around in there. I couldn't get out. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to swapping those motor mounts, but they need it. So but I already got them, bought them over a year ago. Just kind of do them as we were talking about. But yeah, let's bring our Temu stuff in here and we'll talk about it. But I know, like I said, you got to go. I'm good for this week. I think we're at about our usual 30, 35 minutes. So
yeah.
I will see you in the next one, man.
All right. I'll catch you later.
Have a good evening, folks.